And next we dive into fourth species counterpoint. Um, this one's a little different. In first species counterpoint, we had the one-to-one note for every note in the cantus firmus. We had a note in the counterpoint. That was the main thing, and then that introduced all of our subsequent issues that we had to deal with. In the second one, we had a note in between, and then we had to deal with accented notes. In third species counterpoint, we had 3 notes in between each note. So 4 notes for every one note in the cantus firmus, and that led to a couple of issues that we had to deal with. Now we're done with the note-to-note kind of issue and kind of multiplying that out the way we have been. What we're going to look at now in fourth species counterpoint, our major thing that we're going to have to deal with here is suspensions. Now, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about suspensions in the next couple of videos. But suspensions come about because we can now do rhythmic displacement, meaning we can do note-to-note, like first or second or even third species counterpoint, but what we can also do is let the notes be a little wishy-washy in terms of their rhythm. We can kind of lay back on the exact rhythms of the counterpoint. Let me give you an example here. So let's put here, let's start this off with a rest. And then an octave. So let me go back and make that a rest. Okay. So we have D to D. Okay. Octave. Now what I can do, so it would look like here I'm setting us up for second species counterpoint, right? Because we have an octave here, it looks like we're going to do whole notes, or half notes in the counterpoint. And we could, but let's do a combination of whole notes and half notes, but a little different. Check it out. So what note should I do here? Let's do another D as a half note. And then let's tie those together. So what do I have here? I have essentially a whole note because I have 4 beats right here. So I have D, D holding all the way past this A, right? That makes a fourth here, which is technically a dissonance, right? So my D was a consonance because it was an octave, and then here it became a dissonance. So now we have notes that can change from consonant to dissonant throughout while they're sustaining, because we can just kind of shift the rhythm here, and this is called rhythmic displacement. Now, when we do this, we have to resolve it, and this shift here is called a suspension. So now it resolves to a consonance, because now A to C is a third, and that's a consonant. But let's keep going. What if I did the same thing again? So here we have a consonance. Now we have a G to C, that's another fourth. So this consonance now became a dissonance through rhythmic displacement. So now I have to make sure that that resolves, and doing it to, a B would give us another third, and that would be a mighty fine thing to do. Let's keep going. Here we have an F. So if I suspend this over in the same way, my B was a consonance. Now it's going to become a dissonance, but now it's going to become a tritone, a diminished fifth. That might be a little more than I want to chew on right now. So let's not do it. Let's break the pattern, because we can do that. That's another thing we can do in four species counterpoint. I've got half notes. I've got whole notes displaced because they're going over the bar line and tied together, right? But now let's just do a half note. So I've got a consonant here of a third. Let's jump up to an octave. So I'm still on a third. And now I can actually do the same thing again. I can start moving down with these suspensions. So here I have an F and an A, that's a third. Now I have an E and an F, that's a fourth again. So that's a dissonance. Let's resolve that to a third. Let's just finish this out just for the heck of it. So let's do another suspension there. So this consonant now became a dissonance. D to G is now a fourth. Let's resolve that one down to a third. Now I have D to F. Let's suspend that over. And then, oops. And now I have F to F. So that makes an octave. So here we suspended a consonant here, D to F, our third, into another consonant, right? That's to an octave. So let's keep moving. And let's go down to a D here. And let's suspend that over. So this is going to be F to D. That's going to be a sixth. And let's suspend that one over. And then we're going to make a seventh with the next note. Because now we have E to D. Right? That's a seventh. That's a dissonance. It's an okay dissonance. But we got to resolve it correctly. It's got to go down to a sixth. We're going to talk about more about how these dissonances work. Now I'm at the end. So let's wrap this up. Oops. By just going to... Oops. An octave again. Okay. So I went to an octave for the end. Now I got one little error in the end, and the error is not a new thing. This is a thing we saw in previous counterpoints. If you can spot it, then you win the gold star. If you want to take some guesses, pause the video and give it a shot. Let me try to get the whole thing in here. Here we go. All right, there's the whole thing. See if you can find the error. Pause the video, take some guesses, figure it out, and then I'm going to tell you. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you. What key are we in? We're in D minor, right? Key signature tells us we're either in F major or D minor, and we've got all these Ds. There's an A, so there's the fifth, and then we're ending on a D. We're in D minor. So as we approach the end, what do we need to do in minor to make it really nail the kind of home feeling? We need to raise our leading tone. Boink. We need to do that. That's a rule. Remember, in the second to last measure, as you approach tonic, you need to raise the leading tone, and sometimes the sixth, if you are in a minor key. Cool. Okay, let's hear it. And there we have it. So that is fourth species counterpoint. So next, let's talk more about the actual definition of a suspension and what that means when we have a suspension happening in our counterpoint.